All righty, it's the crossover with Willard and Dibs.
The show before the show.
Gentlemen, yes, sir. What's
popping?
What's going on?
Lots. I mean, you're the one who just came back from Vegas.
But the streets say you were at Bottleneck. I saw that picture.
I was in a Bottleneck. I was in a Bottleneck leaving the place. I don't know about Bottleneck. Bottle Rock.
Good Lord.
It becomes a bottleneck.
You're doing it on purpose.
Bottleneck is a form.
Bottleneck.
No, that's when you weren't looking at the accident, right?
If I had known about the bottleneck after, I might have not have got to the Bottle Rock. But no. It is a good 3-day weekend.
Oh, boy.
We got a lot done. Good 3-day weekend.
And a good week for the Giants. They were just dead men walking, and now all of a sudden they got youth. They're exciting. A sellout yesterday. Good God.
Do you know what's weird about them right now? They've won 9 of 11, and I don't know that they're playing well.
I mentioned this.
Honestly, think about it.
To come back, you got to be down.
You got to be down, right? You've had 2 hellacious blown leads in your you're 9-2,
yeah,
and 2 hellacious blown leads. Yet you can't get mad at it because they've stolen 4 of the 9 that they've won.
It's still for real,
and they're kicking like the young kid we're supposed to be excited about. Literally cannot pick up a standstill ball over its shortstop. I mean, these games are wild, though.
Yeah.
They're all over the place.
And it's working for them. I sided you and Dibs. You backed me up. I told Steiny right before the season started, I said, why wouldn't Luciano get the gig to start the season? And you said, you both, it was the consistency of the routine play, not the go-get-it play.
Yeah.
But those two, he got away with a couple, but, man, that's a problem.
He's made 5 errors in 8 games.
But only in the 9th inning, apparently, also.
Right.
Like, what is that?
I mean, if you want to put that out over a 162-game schedule, he's going to make 100 errors.
No,
he's on pace to make 100 errors, which I think, and I'd have to Google it, would be a record.
Right to him, though.
The Luciano thing is highly confusing to me on so many levels. Why did he not start the year as the shortstop? Why is he still a shortstop?
Why brought it up?
Why can't you pick up a ground ball? You don't even need to be a shortstop in order to. Gosh, one of the errors, Tyro just threw the ball to him at second, and he just.
That's what I was like. Oh boy!
I'm not going to cite who, but I'm going to tell you somebody who is dialed in, and this is a quote. He's just not a baseball player.
Oh wow!
No way.
And what he means by that is the instinct. Remember the way he pulled up at second base? That's what I'm worried about. When everyone goes, well, move him over there. Why the hell would he play well there? Move him to second. We're just going to boot the ball over at second. You can't have him there. I don't know where you can put him. And I'm out on this. Well, he's young, so he makes mistakes. A bunch of people are young. You don't need to be old, young, or anywhere in the middle to pick up an absolute little league ground ball that's hit right at you.
And he's been in the minors for 6 years.
Correct.
And 1 year he didn't play because, and I think so, and you're probably going to see Trenton Brooks get recalled, and you need a first baseman because you don't have Lamont Wade for, I mean, who knows how long. We'll talk to Doc Pandia today.
4. Yep.
Yeah, he might be out for 2 to 4 to 6 to maybe 8 because that thing looked bad, and so you need a first baseman, and I do think that Luciano goes back, and when he goes back, try him somewhere else, please. Yeah. He's not a shortstop. I said it last week.
What is he?
He's probably a left fielder or a DH.
I mean, but like I know that sometimes we do this to the outfield and first base where like someone can't do the other position, so we go stick him there. And that can be a problem too. You want Jock Peterson in left? I don't.
Right.
And does he look like that out there? I don't know. He is.
Well, let's find out.
And that's the key.
That's fair.
You should have already found out is where it sounds like you're going.
And that's what it's very confusing to me that he looks like this, even at age 22.
Exactly.
But the bat is also intoxicating.
Well, you got so low at the DH.
So you can't just be like you stink, get out of here, because if he can man something in the infield especially, then you got yourself something special. I don't know, man. It's confusing.
You brought up that you don't even know if they're playing well right now.
Well, they're all over the place.
I know.
Right? Yeah.
You know what, though? You know what's more important than playing well, at least at the start? is winning games like they won on the last 2 road trips. Like, that's almost better than playing well, because they were such crazy games, all of them. The 2 they lost, the 4 they won. It's impossible to pay attention and not be thinking, well, this is one of the craziest 2 series back-to-back we've seen in a long time. And look at this. They won 9 of 11, and we're back in it.
Oh, I mean, it's been almost 100 years since someone did what they did last week in baseball. So you're 1,000% right. It's exciting. They're scoring runs in buckets. I don't find those runs to be very quirky either. It's not like you look at it and go, boy, just every flare is falling. No, Bailey's coming up in key situations.
Flores is going to lead off with a hit right through the hole.
Chapman comes up. They come up in moments in the late innings where you're like, you need someone to hit a bomb, and they're like, cool,
3-run bomb, Chappie.
You know what I mean? Like they're really swinging the bat, and so yeah, even if they weren't 9-2 in the last 11, what if it were 7-4? It looks like a viable team. It's exciting baseball, and yes, we do look at it and go, I don't know if they're playing well. But I also know it stands to reason that this rotation is going to keep getting better. It should be a rotation that, if they make the playoffs, scares people. It should scare the Braves and the Dodgers and the Phillies. Yeah. It should scare them.
I mean, they need Snell to be Snell, but
I think he will be.
Yeah, if you look at his splits after June 30th, his career splits are 2.5 ERA and a WHIP of 1.16, and that's just with spring training, no spring training, as a Giant, not as a Giant. When you get to July 1, I think that's when you look at Blake Snell and you decide what exactly is he, because right now, and I heard his quote, and we'll play it, or maybe we'll just talk about it, whatever it is. But
we'll play it, yeah.
He owned it a little bit. Excuses.
Well, he owned it, kind of, and then he pointed the finger at the teams, which, you know what, my friend? Point the finger at your agent, because you could have settled for whatever you needed to settle for to get in, and you didn't, because your agent wanted every last dollar, and I don't begrudge you for that.
And you wouldn't do it differently if you could.
But when you want every last dollar, and you have to wait until March, whatever, 11th or 23rd or whatever the date was, when you want to get every last dollar and you wait until March, then that's what you get. So you can't point the finger to me at the teams. It's your agent, Scott Boras.
Well, I don't know. If you're not going to begrudge him for waiting for extra, I would say this. To me, it's everybody. I have no idea how that process went. Who was holding out on who? And if you did want a few extra dollars and you got it, then you were smart for waiting.
For the money, you're smart, but not for your.
The streets were saying he thought he was going to be a Yankee. He was waiting on and that fell apart.
Obviously, Scott Boras had a rough offseason. One of his Boras 4 fired him, and nobody got the long-term deal that they were expecting.
Well, that member of the Boras 4 is actually pitching better than this one.
Yes, he
Jordan
is.
Montgomery.
Although he named him. He's like, I don't know how this was for him or whatever.
Well, he actually was quoted, 2 days ago, talking about the same thing. Talking about spring training and how it wasn't.
What did he say?
He said, spring training, man. I miss it. Am I right? But he actually started better than Snell did, he's actually regressed a little bit.
I have no idea what that process was and who was playing hardball and how many teams were involved. But I think the bigger picture to me, and we've all felt this on some level, baseball needs a deadline. They need a free agency deadline.
Makes no sense.
This waiting until spring training starts, and I don't know how you do that, because the players are probably the ones who will pay for that if there's some sort of a deadline, but they've got to figure out a way that big names are not still sitting there in March waiting for teams to come through. I don't have some sort of a great idea about what the fix is, but that's bad for everybody. It's bad for the players. It's bad for the teams.
It's bad for fans.
And of course he's going to point the finger at the teams. And I guarantee you Farhan nodded his head and said, no, that's same thing you said. That's your fault.
But it should never happen.
It's all of your fault.
It's all Boras.
Give
a deadline.
I mean,
the sense I get in the negotiation was the Giants had an offer and they made it early, and then they went and shopped and shopped and shopped and shopped and shopped, and they didn't get longer, they didn't get more, and then they came back to the Giants and said, well, okay.
If that's the case, then you're 1,000% right. I never know what to believe in all of that.
You never do.
You know what I mean?
But I look at the number one culprit, like the one the centering, the most connected person in all of this, and it's Scott Boras, a guy who wants every dollar, and so he's telling his clients, just wait, they're going to cave, they're going to cave, they're going to cave. And the Giants, they didn't really cave. The Giants came to the table in March, and Snell's like, cool, I'm a Giants, and now, spring training's over. Now what? Well, now let me pitch to a bunch of 18-year-olds and see if that works, and it didn't work.
Yep. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. What do you think's going to happen with Luciano when Ahmed gets
He gets sent down.
Probably.
You think?
Yeah,
Probably.
he has to.
Well,
he has to.
I don't know about he has to. If Wisely keeps doing this, he gets sent down.
And they're light on
Wisely's gotta play
left-handed
first
batters,
now.
man.
Well, maybe. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like
Flores will be out there tonight.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't.
One home run on the year.
Yeah, he's not playing great, and now if he's going against right-handers too, I don't know.
But can Wisely keep this up? Because he's been on fire.
I wouldn't think he can keep this up.
Yeah.
But can he look like a big leaguer? Because he has not when he's come up in the past, and maybe that's the definition of this year. A lot of these guys are ready. They've had enough cups of coffee so that they're comfortable now. And it also depends. Is Wade, like you're saying, is Wade out 3 or is he out 6?
Yeah.
But he probably gets sent down. They're not. They look unwilling to put him in the lineup anymore.
Hey, man.
Like
So
this is a Major League Baseball team. I got to. What are they when they look at that? The Major League Baseball team is watching somebody kick slow bouncers to short. They're like,
when he missed that Saturday, I said, good God.
We're not doing that.
Saturday? What about Thursday and Tuesday and Monday?
The
and
one where
I don't even know anymore.
To him, I said, and Fleming was just
And think about this, Goo. The dude is raking. You can't get him out. So you can't get the guy out, and yet you look at him and you go, dude, we can't play you.
We can't put you out there.
What does that mean?
That means you have to DH him, but your DH is,
Soler.
Yeah, and he's a guy who you want to definitely keep. Exactly, you want to keep him in there. So I think it's Wisely, and I think I don't even know what the moves are in yet, Mark, and you have a good finger on the pulse for that with the pregame moves. I think that you're going to see Trenton Brooks come up, a left-hand hitting first baseman who's done well at Sacramento. You bring him up, and you put you put Luciano back in AAA, and Lamont Wade goes on not the 60-day. But he probably goes in the 10.
No, he won't start on. God, I hope it's not.
Oh, man.
No, but it's got to be 10 to start. But I would imagine in Doc Pandia today at 4, we'll have a better idea about what the hamstring strain is like. But that feels to me like more than just 10 days.
Well, I mean, this. Hamstrings are the ones that you have to be so careful with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that might be. But the Luciano thing, he
doesn't have a position.
You're waiting for Nick Ahmed. You're waiting for Austin Slater. You're waiting to see who else is hurt at that time. And then you figure it out then. But I'm just judging it based on what they've done with the lineup the last few days. That tells me they're not thrilled about trotting him out there right now.
And imagine had he not had the debacle with the glove, as well as he's hitting, Dibs, they would have made that decision. It would have been more difficult to sit Luciano down or not start him. And then he just
he doesn't sit, he plays.
Man.
If he was even decent with the glove, he plays because he's absolutely raking, but you can't put him out there now. And much like
that's crazy.
You think about a free throw shooter who can't shoot free throws anymore, and now he's shooting jumpers. And I'm trying to remember who used to move Steiny to the right hand side of the line, and there were guys who were so bad that they had to try anything to make it work.
I can't remember who you're talking about, but I have a recollection of somebody doing that. What about Ramos? It's going to happen with him.
I love his at-bats. I love the Matos. They battle.
I don't know. You're talking Conforto and Slater when they're back. I mean, we haven't heard it.
Slater.
We haven't heard it. I know, but that too was 39 at-bats. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, they're going to be real careful. I know everybody's out on Austin Slater right now, and I understand that, but they're going to be really careful about just dumping someone who's been on the team for 7 years because they didn't like 39 at-bats at the start of a year. But no, Ramos has got more of a presence at the plate than Slater ever has, and he's supposed to, by the way. He's been a top prospect for a while. So I don't know how they figured it out. I wouldn't feel terribly comfortable if I were Yaz. And I know he's had a decent little week here, but when Conforto comes back, is that a Ramos thing or is that a Yaz thing? Do you end up with some sort of a Yaz Ramos platoon?
I asked Steiny this. All of these are good problems, though, right?
For sure.
Besides the Luciano, because you want his bat in there. It's just like, damn, dude, what can we stash in the field? That's incredible.
Yep.
Like he should have been in the outfield in Sacramento all day, every day. Somebody should have seen.
He's only played 3 games at second base in the Dominican League. Other than that, he's only played shortstop. So if you want to criticize Farhan, that to me is a point where you could look at him and say, even like 10 games in September in SAC or 8 games in San Jose, could we not see him in left a little bit?
I mean, the whole thing is confusing. I wonder what his spin has been on it. He's been the top prospect in the organization for about 3 or 4 years now. So I bet he has a say. You know what I mean? Like, what if you go out to left field? His agent's like, we're not going. And
if you want to get on the field, you are.
Well,
if fast track me on the field.
I get it, and I doubt that that's happened. But this is a top prospect.
Right.
This is your number 1 prospect. So again, it's the only word I have for it. Yeah. The whole thing's completely confusing to me.
I just think it's interesting that over the last however long it's been, we talked about Luciano, and they've been laying the groundwork for. He's not a great fielder. He's not. He might not be ready yet. Why is he not up here? Well, he's still got some stuff to work on at shortstop.
Boy,
and then he comes up and you watch him for a week, and you're thinking, wow, well, they were telling the truth. That's why he's not further along. Clearly,
you could write this script and they'd throw it out because they're like, that's not believable. That he only boots everything that comes to him in the 9th inning. I was driving
the routine ones, man.
Listen, I'm watching that one. Which game was it?
The Mets?
Was it? No, was it the 8-7 game? They've all blended together. What a mess last week. But the one where he just dropped the ball that Tyro threw to him.
That was the Mets Saturday.
Okay, so I'm watching this one, and you're thinking it. We're all thinking it. I'm like, you put Luciano in for the 9th? I'm like, that's pretty brazen. And here we go. We got a runner at first.
The ball finds
and
you.
1 out. And I was so relieved. The ball comes off the hitter's bat. And I'm like, oh, good. He grounded it to second. He can do that.
That's bad.
It was bad.
I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you have to be kidding me.
Yeah. So they got to fix it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fix is.
Bob the Builder.
I'll tell you what, if I told Evan this, you guys tell me what you think. And I got to be careful because Steiny was like, Goose, slow your jets. Toronto is 5 games under, but I'm watching that situation to see if they just have a fire sale and if you could get Gosman back in this rotation, assuming everything is going to stay copacetic with the Giants, if not get greater, that would be an arm. You already was part of your team. If you could get them back, you need one. To me, they need one more arm for some insurance or another just. If you really want to take down the Dodgers, you need a guy like that has a swing and miss capabilities.
I think they've got arms coming, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I keep hearing
Cobb and Robbie Ray.
Keeps every time is kick the can down the road.
That's fine, but you don't need Cobb until Jordan Hicks reaches his innings limit, which I do think is about 100 innings. I don't
Where
think
are we getting that, by the way?
A track
What is
record.
that about?
I don't think that they're going to let him go 180.
I don't know.
What is his career high, like 70?
Yeah, but his velocity was back, like that whole concern.
He's been pitching his ass off.
Yeah, he's pitching great. I don't know that they are sitting there like, you know what I mean? That would be weird if they're just letting him rock 6 innings every time and they knew, like, we're going to do this till July and then was out.
Right.
Like, I think that's a fallback. You could do that. You may end up, if you're blessed with health, you may end up with too many good starting pitchers. And maybe that's what you do.
You need an arm in the bull, one more arm, man.
Yeah. Bullpen arms that's usually the easiest thing to find at the deadline, too. Right. I agree with you.
How confident are you in the Roger brothers? Dude, he goes some days.
Not very.
They're unhittable.
I was with my father-in-law yesterday, and we're doing Memorial Day, and he's like, I can't believe they keep pitching that Frisbee guy.
Do you know what?
And I love my father-in-law. His takeaways are like very crisp, and they're very emotional. And I'm like, yeah, the Frisbee guy's having a hard time right now.
Why have we not had your father-in-law on?
Oh, we should definitely get him on.
Boy.
Crisp hot takes.
Yeah, he does.
I think
he does.
You know what? Every time the Tyler Rogers conversation is always just
the Frisbee guy.
Well, it's a tough one because every year at the end of the year, his metrics are that he's a fantastic reliever.
Not in the ninth.
Well, I wouldn't see that. My issue with that game was not the whole Duvall thing. My issue with that was that you picked Rogers.
Man.
Like, because there's a reason that in the ninth inning, you want someone who's got swing and miss stuff. Like, you get a runner on base, you need to fall back on that.
And you had Duvall in a game where you're up 100 runs, and you could have saved
I'll explain that. No, you couldn't have. No, you couldn't have. And we'll get to that later. But I'm going to have Bomels back on that one all day. But I would not, like, why not Ryan Walker? Why not hold him for the ninth? Well, where was Rodriguez?
Who's been just filthy.
He's filthy.
Are you talking about the first game in Pittsburgh?
I'm talking about the one that they blew on Sunday.
Yes,
the Mets.
You're up 3-1, and you went to Ryan Walker in the eighth, and he's been so lights out. You knew Duvall wasn't available. Yeah. So I have no issue with Duvall not being available, but like slot that different so that Rogers is not your shutdown guy because he pitches to contact.
Well, and he didn't start Duvall in game one when it wasn't a save situation, but then he brought him right in. The first game against Pittsburgh. You're right. I can't remember.
He had pitched 5 games in 6 days.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll
save our Ayuk stuff for you guys tomorrow. What's up? We got time. What's up with that? I don't share my. Wow, Dibs. He's calling the shot.
I think it's not even June. And I think that he didn't like some sort of an interaction or an offer that probably was exchanged. You know?
And you saw Nico Collins sign today.
No, I didn't.
Oh, it just broke. Yeah, Adam Schefter over your right shoulder. Nico Collins got a 3-year, I think $75 million, but the guarantee is maybe not as big as we think. And we're going to wait for the actual guarantee, the real guarantee, because David Lombardi today on Twitter had a good tweet about, the Amon-Ra actual guaranteed number, and everyone's saying, oh, Ayuk
wants more than that.
Right. And he can get more than that as far as the eye candy goes, but the actual guarantee is where that money sits. And I think Amon-Ra got 38.5 actually guaranteed, and that's about more like what Brandon Ayuk will get.
All right. Well, it sounds like you guys got a lot going on.
Oh, yeah. You're getting off the hook. I like that.
What do you mean?
You took a couple shots at me when I was driving in, so it's all right.
Which
I didn't hear this.
You questioned my weight loss. You questioned my 25-pound weight loss.
Oh, we're at 25?
Yeah, we're at 25. And
Keep going.
According to me, that's what Steiny said.
Look,
that was a rat-a-tat-tat. And you aren't the only college athlete on the staff.
This is what
Who is?
I am. I played college tennis.
Not intramurals as in tennis.
Incorrect.
All right, you're on a college team?
Yeah, exactly.
What college?
It was junior college, but California junior college is like Podunk D3. It's very comparable.
Yeah, well, it's 211. So I
had to get those in there.
I agree with your take.
Thank you.
On
95.7 the game.